how's it going, guys? Welcome back for another card review. So today we're going to take a look at the jackpot card of the Creed of Earthlings, which is Leonard. So this is, I think, the 4.5% card along with the Earth one, which is Elpis. Right, so leader skill, let's take a look at the leader skill first. I'm going to go in first impression of this card as a whole. Right, so leader skill, attack of water monsters and monsters of Creed of Earthlings times 6, HP and recovery times 1.2. Right, so more of the standard right now times 6 and then a bit of HP and recovery boost. I'm not a fan of cards that doesn't have HP and recovery boost at the like all these new PR of the Imperial Warlords, right? So at least a decent of HP and recovery. So next, number 2, by dissolving water runestones, damage received minus 30%, right? So which is good. On top of a HP boost, you have a damage reduction as well, right? So note that this is leader skill, so leader ally, there's going to be more than 30% damage reduction. And then by dissolving a group of 5 or more than 5 or equal to 5 runestones, attack of water monsters and Creed of Earthlings times 2.8 additionally. 2.8 is very massive, so make sure you dissolve more than 5, right? Be it a straight line or a horizontal group of water runestones. Right, so overall this leader skill is looking pretty good, right? So I'm not sure why this playstyle kind of reminds me of Einstein, right? But it's a very different playstyle, right? But overall, I think Leonard as a leader skill is pretty well done, right? Good base multiplier. There's a HP recovery boost as well as a damage reduction, right? So very well done. And on top of that, you have that additional 2.8, which is easily done, right? By looking at the passive team skill. Let's take a look. Alright, so let's take a look at Leonard's team skill. So number 1, turn the first 6 runestones touch while moving into water runes, enchanted water runestones. Alright, so by doing that, you will easily fulfill that 2.8 team attack additionally from what you see at the leader skill. Right, so that's done. You pretty much have that full team multiplier almost all the time, right? And then number 2, you have extend rune movement time to 15 seconds. So that's for you to kind of move your runes around as much as you want to kind of fulfill that multiplier, right? But take note that this doesn't extend to 15 seconds regardlessly, right? So if you were to encounter any monster that is reduced movement time to 2 seconds and stuff like that, this team is pretty much going to suffer a little bit, right? So moving on to number 3, water runes possess effect of other attribute runestones, right? So take note that this doesn't possess effect of hard runes. That's number 1. Number 2, water runes possession of other attributive runestones will just kind of assist other attribute cards, which is what you're going to bring for like the Creed of Earthlings, other attributes of Creed of Earthlings into this team. They're going to have a more consistent damage as well. Alright, so number 4, by dissolving a group of 5 or equal to 5 water runes in a specific shape in the first batch, you have the following effects triggered. Alright, so as what I mentioned just now, if you dissolve one in a horizontal line, one straight line, you have this effect. Attack of water monsters and Creed of Earthlings times 2.2 additionally. Right, so I think that on a normal basis, this should be how you are gonna dissolve your runestones to get that maximum multiplier. Alright, so if you run into enemies such as like Tumbler Shield or Kamikaze Shield and stuff like that, whereby you need to kind of drag out the battle, right? You pretty much go for a plus shape. Water runes dissolve, which gives you that damage received minus 50% on top of that damage reduction that you already have in your leader skill. Right, so that is actually a pretty big damage reduction. Alright, so let's take a look at the rest, which is in different forms, maybe like an L shape or something. Right, damage of monsters of Creed of Earthlings will be dealt regardless of Trio Elemental Shield as well as Quintet Elemental Shield. Right, this is pretty good. But take note that only damage dealt by Creed of Earthlings will disregard this Trio Elemental as well as Quintet Elemental Shield, right? Which means that any other water mobs they bring that are not of this series will not ignore this shield. Alright, so notice that I think this is the first card that actually ignores Trio Elemental Shield. Right, so even cards like Aria, that active skill just ignores Quintet. It kind of still doesn't ignore Trio Elemental, which is kind of weird. And we have Dragonary Craft that ignores Quintet but doesn't ignore Trio Elemental Shield for some reason. Alright, so this kind of improve the team skill for this card. Alright, so for example, stages like the 10 Seal, Shamash stage with that red, green, blue, exclude light and dark. Yeah, this kind of shield, Leonard will have the chance to kind of negate this kind of shield, right, which is pretty good. Right, so let's move on to the active skill of Leonard. Alright, so what you can see here is Leonard's active skill, CD7, which is decent. Right, so now with all the crafts that -1 CD and stuff like that, you can kind of have Leonard at pretty much CD6. Alright, so try to choose Leonard allies with like the cake anniversary craft or the human craft that you get from the 10th seal. Right, then you have Leonard at CD6 when you enter the battle. Right, so number 1, you turn all runestones into enchanted runestones. Okay, so for 1 round, combo count +6. That kind of like assists you in the combo count, right? Because you have to form all these weird shapes using your enchanted water runes that will kind of hinder your combo count, right? So Leonard's active skill is pretty much to help you counter stuff like those high combo shields, right? Number 3, water damage can overpower earth enemies, so that's always good. Usually we have some earth ultimate stage or any other stage that have achievements such as using a mono water, right? Leonard will kind of ease this, right, with this water damage overpowering earth enemies. So last but not least, if leader ally are crit of earthlings, so if you're playing leader ally Leonard, you have a combo count +15 instead, which is pretty massive, right? So I think that the active skill kind of complements the playstyle, which is pretty good. Right, so I can say that the only downside of this team would be pretty much like the rune movement time. If you encounter things like a 2-second movement time, you need to bring like maybe a PR starter, something that can kind of extend your rune movement time. Right, if not, this team will run into some sort of trouble trying to form that horizontal line or that plus sign when you have to. Right, so overall, I think that this card here will be pretty good, right? Even as a member, you can see that it kind of enchant the entire board, pretty much. And then number 2, you get that extra combo count +6, which is combo count is always very good, right? So you can look at it as a water human version of 诸葛亮if you were to use it as a member, right? So 诸葛亮 actually enchants 1 attribute each, whereas this enchants the entire board, so it is already a better version of 诸葛亮, right? So on top of that, combo count +6, which is already pretty good enough to counter most of the combo shields out there, right? On top of that, you still get to have this water damage overpower earth enemies, right? So if you put this in let's say a future PR Atlantis team or a water SR Norse team, stuff like that, right? It can easily overpower this earth enemy and deal more damage. Right, so overall, I think all these 3 jackpot cards, right? Leonard, Elpis, as well as the dark card, I forgot the name already. This series overall, I think is pretty well done. Right, so in my opinion, whether to draw or not, I think is highly this series is pretty highly drawable in my opinion. Right, so if you guys have other opinions otherwise, right, you can leave it down in the comments below. We can have a discussion of the entire series. Right, so overall, this is going to be the card review for Leonard. If you guys have any other comments to add on, you guys feel free to put it in the comments below. Alright, so this will be the end of the card review. Right, so if you guys enjoyed the video, do give it a like, and then I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.